Hello and thank you for joining me. This is Taliesin McKnight, and today's lesson is about the process of creation and destruction on the path of knowledge and self-transformation. This is a very important concept in Western occultism. The process of creation and destruction, of building up and breaking down. And this has to do with the self, breaking down old beliefs, breaking down negative habits so you have this destruction, and building up, building up who you want to be, building up the true self, building up information. So the twofold process of creation and destruction in the great work, self-transformation, and in the path of knowledge, of enlightenment. You have a twofold process of creation and destruction. And in today's lesson, this is a very important concept in occultism. And in today's lesson, I'll be using two tarot cards as a teaching tool. And these are the Fool and the Magician. So let's get started. And first of all, I wanted to announce real quick that I have taken a student. I can only take one student at a time because it does take a lot of time and energy to devote to that. So only one student at a time. I've got a student, and what we're going into today kind of goes into what we've been talking about the tarot and everything. So yeah. So today we're going to talk about the process of creation and destruction. Okay. And in the path of knowledge, it's important to learn and to get information. But sometimes it's also important to break down old beliefs. The breaking down of old, outmoded beliefs about yourself, about the world. So this is the problem that most truth seekers fall into, is that they learn and they build up their own dogma, and they have these rigid belief structures that maybe they should break down or question. So most people that are on the path of knowledge will study and learn, and they build up this system, and they believe in, reincarnation, or they believe in this, and they build up this structure, this belief structure. And everything is so comfortable. Wow, the whole world makes sense to me now because I figured this out and this out. And in trying to figure out the world and learning and seeking, I guess that's the goal with most people, is to build up your worldview. Okay? And what a wonderful edifice I have created. Everything seems to make sense. When really, as an ongoing process, we should break down old beliefs and create anew. It's important to question ourselves and periodically to question our most essential beliefs, to break down old beliefs and to create anew. And this kind of goes into the Tower card. Okay, and in the Qabalah, the Tower of Babel, we all create this false edifice which is struck down. And if you look out there in the world, everyone seems so certain about their beliefs. Okay, so certain about what they believe the truth to be. And if you look at YouTube, okay, for example, you look at a typical debate between an atheist and a theist. And I'm not putting a judgment on either view. The point is, two people with opposing opinions butt heads, and each side, instead of trying to discover the truth of the situation, they just argue and fight it out. Okay, so it's important to question our beliefs, to break down old beliefs. And this is where you get creation, building up with new information, and destruction, breaking down our own beliefs about ourselves, about the world. Okay, and this should never end. It should not end at a certain age or when we graduate from college or when we retire. This is a twofold process, creation and destruction, that should carry on until the day we die. We should never stop questioning ourselves. In a sense, these two forces of creation and destruction. And in the ego, our own self-concept, sometimes we have to break through certain ideas. In our relationships with others, you get new friends, and sometimes you have to let some people go. People that are not real great for your life or for who you want to be. We don't just do new things to improve our lives. We have to break habits. I recently quit smoking. I recently cut all the crap out of the bad stuff I was eating. That's an example of me destroying the old. So this is a twofold process, creation and destruction. Okay, creation and destruction. And in alchemy, this is summed up in the alchemical Latin adage, solve et coagula, which in Latin, solve means to dissolve. It is a solid becoming a liquid. And coagula is a liquid becoming a solid. So this is about breaking down and building up again, building anew. The Tower card is striking down old beliefs. Okay, so yeah. And so today, like I said, I'm going to be summing up some of these teachings in the tarot. And we're going to be going into the Fool, the Magician, and I'm also going to go a little bit into will, maybe, if we have time, which many people believe that will is the key of occultism. Eliphas Levi believed, some people say Eliphas Levi, Eliphas Levi believed that the will is the key, and so did Aleister Crowley. Of course, Aleister Crowley kind of developed into this other concept of true will, or thelema. But anyways, okay, so the Fool. The Fool card is often ascribed to the Hebrew letter Aleph, okay, which really Aleph kind of goes into what we're saying, because the Hebrew letter Aleph has a central Vav with a Yud on each side. So this is about opposites. In the Qabalah, each Hebrew letter is a hieroglyph, which expresses certain ideas. And this is the secret teachings of the Qabalah. So you have a Vav with a Yud on each side. Okay, and this represents this whole duality, creation and destruction, masculine and feminine, hot and cold, light and dark, expansion and contraction, sun and moon, growth and decay, birth and death. So these are all opposites in the Qabalah, which also expresses the unknowable Godhead, or Ein Sof, and the deity which is felt and experienced through faith. So these are all opposites. And really, Aleph is the reconciler of opposites, because there are three mother letters. There are three mother letters. Aleph, Mem, and Shin. Okay? Aleph, Mem, and Shin. And Mem and Shin represent all opposites. We're going to this whole opposite thing. Mem means water. Mem represents water. Shin represents fire. So Mem and Shin are two Hebrew letters that represent all opposites. Hot and cold, light and dark, creation and destruction. And it requires both. So Mem and Shin are all opposites in the mother letters, and Aleph is the reconciler of opposites. So in the Qabalah, you have two pillars. Hold on just a second here. Hold on just a second. Hold on. So anyways, so you have, sorry about that, so you have Mem and Shin, which in the Qabalah are all opposites, okay? There are 3 mother letters, which are 3 Hebrew letters. Mem and Shin are masculine, feminine, high, cold, light, and dark. Aleph is the reconciler of the 2. And 2 opposites are found in Freemasonry under the symbols of Yakin and Boaz, which Masons, they have a different pronunciation. I say Yakin, which is original Hebrew. So yeah, so Aleph represents reconciling opposites, and in Western Hermetic occult Kabbalah, the tarot, Aleph is often ascribed to the Fool. Okay. Now I want to point out, before we go any further, that it was never fully established that the Fool is Aleph, or that the Fool is numbered 0 at the beginning. The Fool card is separate from the other 21 trump cards of the major arcana. Okay? So, ascribing the Fool to 0 and the letter Aleph, which is really numbered 1, began with Rider-Waite deck. And occultists before Alfred Edward Waite, before A.E. Waite, weren't really sure where to put the Fool. So this began with Waite in his Rider-Waite tarot, putting the Fool with Aleph in the beginning, numbered 0. But it's interesting that A.E. Waite, in his book, The Pictorial Key to the Tarot, puts the Fool as number 21 and right before the World card. Wow. So A.E. Waite has the Fool as Aleph at the beginning as 0. And then in his book, The Pictorial Key to the Tarot, he puts it as 21. That's weird. Why did A.E. Waite put 2 different interpretations? Which is the right way? Was he putting up blinds? Was he trying to hide the true meaning? And Eliphas Levi, who was the first to ascribe the 22 Hebrew letters of the Kabbalah to the tarot, he also put the Fool as number 21 right before the World, the letter Shin. So why does everyone put Aleph here? Now, I'm just putting that there to play devil's advocate, to give another perspective. I'm not saying what the truth is, but for argument's sake, everyone puts Aleph as the Fool, and the Fool is numbered 0 right before the Magician. Everyone puts him there. Manly P. Hall does that. So for argument's sake, we'll go with your everyday, the Fool goes there. But it's interesting that the other way of doing it, the Magician is Aleph, and Rider-Waite, he puts the Magician pointing up and pointing down with the other hand, and the Magician is depicted making the Hebrew letter Aleph with his hands. So why did Rider-Waite ascribe the Magician with the letter Bait as second, and then his whole body's making a Hebrew Aleph? Something's going on. But anyways, we're going to go ahead with the typical interpretation. So, the Fool card is usually numbered 0. Again, the Fool does not go with any other of the tarot cards. And many people interpret the Fool as the initiate. Okay? The Fool is the initiate who undergoes what's called the Fool's Journey, which is interacting with the other 21 cards. That's what's widely believed. So the Fool is 0. And Aleister Crowley says that the Fool is the not. It is the nothingness. It is the free spirit which existed before all this conditioning by society. The Fool is the not. This is the free spirit before we are conditioned by society, before our parents, before our teachers, before society instills its values, its prejudices, its religions, its patriotic values, all these concepts given us by our friends or parents who really don't know that well, not exactly the wisest. You know, they don't really have it all figured out, yet we're told by society dictates what we're to believe. So anyways, the full is the not, which is the true free spirit. It is nothingness because, as meditation will show you deep in silent meditation, that there's nothing really to grasp within the self. We are fed all kinds of ideas. That's one way of interpreting it. So the full is the not, which Aleph connects Keter to Chokmah, which is the just limitless potential of Keter going into creation, into will of Chokmah. So the full is often depicted about to leap off a void, which is nothingness coming into existence. Is the fool about to die, or is he about to be born? That's an interesting concept, which the zero shows an O, which is the Ouroboros, the beginning is in its end. Is the fool about to die when he goes off the precipice, or is it the occult symbolism of being born? The free spirit coming into incarnation, as Crowley might have it. So that's interesting, that the fool is the not, and it's the true individual, before being ingrained by society. That's one interpretation. Of course, in a reading, the foal usually represents taking a journey, a leap into the unknown, or being foolish. So that's interesting. So, what does that have to do with our lesson of creation and destruction? Where am I going with this? Where I'm going with this is boundary dissolution. A lot of our beliefs, our deeply held beliefs, are just these illusory concepts. A lot of our most deep, passionate values, religion, patriotism, any prejudices that we have. I forgot the exact quote. I heard a quote recently about how none of us are born racist or sexist or any of that. That is taught to us, okay? That all of our prejudices, boundary dissolution is about breaking a lot of these things that separate people, so that the differences between you and me, these boundaries break down, and then there's a true connection between people. And the Tower of Babel, which is the Tower card, the Tower of Babel in the Qabalah, represents this tower of the ego that we all build up trying to aspire to greatness. We build up this tower of the self, and then we fail to really relate and understand each other. This connection is gone. So Aleph tells us, and the full tells us, that none of this shit's real, in a sense. To break down old beliefs. Now, what's interesting about the Hebrew letter Aleph is that Aleph is silent. Yeah, Aleph makes no sound, period. And a lot of occultists don't know Hebrew, and yet they're trying to teach people about the letter Aleph, and they don't even know the first thing about Hebrew. Some of the occultists out there teaching Qabalah have no business teaching. Okay, someone just wants to be a teacher, they don't really know what they're talking about. Aleph does not make an ah sound. I've read that in occult books, that Aleph makes an ah sound. It's like a breath of wind, ah. No, it's not. Yeah, fuck yes, I've read that. In the books, it'll say the Hebrew letter Aleph. It's ah, like a breath of wind. No, it's not, damn it. No, it's not, damn it. What the hell, book author? Are you insane? It's not, it's not a breath of wind. Aleph makes no fucking sound, okay? It makes no sound. It's silent. The little vowel marks give it sounds, okay? So this is a perfect analogy of the self. None of us are prejudiced. None of us hate black people or, Hispanics, or none of us are prejudiced or racist or, hating women or men or or you know, anti, just whatever. All these prejudices, that's just one example, are conditioned in us. We're really just this, nothingness, Aleph. And it's not okay? But we're conditioned by society, we learn lessons, and we build up these structures. And over time, we forget how illusory these structures really are. And I'll show you how this applies to the letter Aleph and the full, the free spirit. This dot I just put above the Aleph is called Holim. That's a vowel mark. That makes an O sound. So the silent letter of Aleph now goes O. Okay? This is a vowel mark. If you put a dot beneath Aleph, or any of the Hebrew letters, these are vowel marks in Hebrew. This is called Hirek. This is an E sound. So O-E, okay? This is called, this line underneath Aleph is an Ah sound. That's called Patach in Hebrew. That vowel mark makes an Ah sound. Okay? This 3 dots in a diagonal line is a Hebrew vowel called kibbutz. And this makes a oo sound. So it goes to show you that Aleph itself has no sound, but the different vowel marks give it sound. In the same way, many of us have none of these concepts, and it's given us. And we mistake the vowel marks for the letter, just like we mistake our concepts that we're being fed for who we really are. Who we are. Okay? Now, my student asked me, well, if Aleph's silent, how come it's given sounds with these vowel marks? Doesn't that mean it's not silent? No. Any Hebrew letter, if you put a vowel mark, has a sound. The letter bait, if you put a Hirek at the bottom, it's B. Or, without the dogish, bait is a vait. It makes a V sound instead of a B sound. So the Hebrew letters change depending on the dagesh, which is a dot. Okay, I don't want to go too far into this, but let's see. Okay, but like the letter bait. Shut up, cat. I'm teaching. I'm instructing individuals. It's highly unprofessional. I'm going to talk to you about video etiquette as soon as I'm done. The letter bait, I hope the hell this isn't like turned around when I upload the video. If all these letters look backwards, it's because the video did it. Anyways, this is vait, V sound, like victory or victor. If you put a dagesh, which is a dot right here, that's a B sound. That's a bait, like butter. You put a dot right here, that's B. So anyways, I'm going off into this whole Hebrew rant. Anyways, so breaking down old concepts. We have to realize that we shouldn't fall too much in love with our own beliefs. Okay? So breaking down old beliefs is not breaking who you are as a person. It's you're going down to who you, the free spirit, the true self, you know, as Crowley would put it. So, I think this is the main idea, concept to give, is breaking down destruction. Because everyone knows, if you're seeking knowledge, to study, to learn. If you want to learn, if you want to be enlightened and learn the truths of the universe, read, learn, think. You also have to break down old beliefs, and not just once, okay? This is breaking down and destroying. I mean, it's a scary idea. Notice how the fool is about to jump off a precipice. Sometimes you may even break down everything you stand for and stand on. I mean, if you want to go to that extreme to really be enlightened, you may have to break down beliefs that are so fundamental that it feels like the ground you stand on. I mean, you don't have to go that far. I try to. Creation, building up information, and breaking old beliefs. Yourself. Many people just want to build up who they want to be without breaking away outmoded aspects of the self. Okay. Anyways, so that's the letter Aleph in the full. The magician is often represented by the letter Bait. And I already deleted that letter. I'll just do it like this. I'm not going to color this one in because that's too much work. Okay, sorry if that looks, if I didn't do that well. But letter Bait, whatever. Okay, so the letter Bait, or Vait, if it doesn't have a doggish. Okay, the letter Bait is the magician card. Again, Rider-Waite makes it the letter Bait in his, A.E. Waite does in Rider-Waite deck. And yet the magician shows Aleph, and in the pictorial key to the tarot, Aleph is the magician, and the Fool's number 21. So what the hell's going on? What are you trying to hide? Maybe you're trying to hide something, and occultists just pick it up and run with it. Anyways, enough of that rant. Magician's usually given to the letter Bait. And the letter Bait is the first word of the first letter of the Torah, which is Bereshit, in the beginning. Okay, the Torah begins. Bereshit bara Elohim et hashamayim vet haaretz. V'charetz hayta tohu v'vohu v'choshek al panei techom. V'ruach Elohim merachefet al panei hamayim. Anyways, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. And the earth was void. That's empty, void. And chaos was upon the darkness of the deep. Now what does that mean? That's like a state of nothingness. And then what happens? Vayomer Elohim ichi or, vaichi or. And God said, let there be light, and there was light. So it goes from nothingness and non-being into what happens? Light. Okay. Okay, that's pretty good. So from a state of nothingness and chaos, which in Greek mythology, chaos is nothingness. It's void. My girlfriend's smiling at me. What? What are you laughing at? Anyways. What are you laughing at, honey? Anyways. So, nothingness, darkness, chaos, darkness was upon the face of the deep. This is nothingness. Not necessarily in void, but in nothing as a no thing, a lack of things. This is potential, unlimited potential. And in the process of the 6 days, you see a gradual differentiation. Vayomer Elohim, ichi or, vaichi or. And God said, let there be light, and there was light, and He divided the light from the darkness, and called the light day, darkness night. Second day, let there be a firmament, and He separated the waters above and below. The third day, let dry land appear. Again, that's a differentiation between land and sea. So the whole story of creation shows a gradual differentiation from a primal unity and nothingness. So anyways, Beit is the first letter of the Torah, which is Bereshit, in the beginning. And the letter Beit also is the second word of the Torah, bara, create. So, in the beginning and create. So that's interesting. Also, the Kabbalistic analysis of the word Bereshit is bara, sheet, which is Aramaic, not Hebrew in this case, for created 6, because there were 6 stages of creation. Anyways, going off this other thing, the letter Beit is often ascribed to, even though it's numbered 1 in the Qabalah, and Rider-Waite's rendition of the tarot, not in his books and his teachings, but in his deck, my favorite deck actually, is the Magician. Even though Beit is number 2, The magician is 1. So even though the magician is the second one, and he makes the Aleph, he's here is numbered 1, with bait the number 2. So wait a minute. Even though the magician makes an Aleph sign, and he's numbered 1, he's ascribed a bait, which is the number 2. That makes sense. Anyways, the magician. Now, creation, in the beginning. You could all see how that goes to the letter bait. Create, beginning. Definitely a magician, a magus, someone that creates reality. The magician is someone who manifests reality. So, in the beginning, created. And notice that the magician looks a lot, reminds us of Hermes. Why? Because he connects above and below. In the Rider-Waite deck, the magician is shown drawing energy from above and directing it below. He connects above and below. And this also is the law of correspondence, the law of analogy, which is that the universe, nature, is some type of universal symbolic language, as the Rosicrucians seem to believe according to the manifestos, the book of nature. The book not written with human hands, the book of nature, which of course was the book read by primitive man, by ancient man, by those who instituted the mysteries of Assyria, Babylon, the Egyptian mysteries of Isis and Osiris, of the occult mysteries, going on into another thing. Anyways, bait, beginning, created, the magician creates his world, and Hermes, or Mercury, connects two things. Mercury governs communication. That is the exchange of ideas between two people. And also, Mercury is the deity of commerce. That's the exchange of goods and services and money between people. That's a financial, economic exchange. Ideas. Hermes is also, and his symbol is the caduceus wand, which shows two serpents wound about a staff. So it reconciles opposites. And in magic, the magical link is what connects events and yourself when you do ritual. It connects the ritual to the person or events you're affecting. So the magician is Hermes. You are connecting events and ideas. From idea to form. The magician is Hermes. Okay? The letter bait is number 2. Now, this is about creation and will. So, anyways, I'm running out of time. This video is really complex and going into all kinds of things. I really need to end it. Crap, I had so much to talk about. It's just YouTube. It takes so long to upload and all these things, and there is a limit thing, so I can't go as far as I wanted to. But anyways, so you could say that, okay, we talked about breaking down, because everything's null in the end, and creation with will. Now, what is will? Will could be defined as a desire, a yearning that creates action. Now, will is the center of Aleister Crowley's occultism. Of course, he goes into true will, which is thelema. Thelema is a Greek word for will, which the gematria is 93. So Thelemites will say 93, 93. But I'm going a little bit different here. Eliphas Levi, who Crowley believed he was the reincarnation of will. Will is not just a yearning. This is my will. This is my desire. Will is also willpower, is control exerted to accomplish something. So it is a control and a drive to either do something or a restraint to control your impulses. So, for example, will is either a drive to do something or not to do something, self-restraint. For example, if you're trying to lose weight, it's doing what you don't feel like. It's doing what you have to do even when you don't feel like it. If you're a fat person trying to lose weight, it's saying, oh God, I don't want to go to the gym, I don't want to jog, I don't want to exercise. You do it anyways. Or to not eat that cupcake. Self-restraint, self-control. So will is important in this process of creation, of going for a desire with one point in this, but also to self-dominion, self-conquest, which the pentagram shows, at least upright, the four elements governed by will and intelligence, which in esoteric symbolism, the virgin bruising the head of the serpent, the elements governed by will. Anyways, I'm going into magic and creation. That's another lesson. I'm running out of time. So basically, to sum it up, just creation, destruction. These are the two pillars of masonry. These are the two opposite pillars on the tree of life, Jachin and Boaz. This is, these are the two opposing forces, creation and destruction. Always be careful that your enlightened beliefs, my enlightened beliefs, all of us truth seekers, that our concepts of the reality don't become towers that should be struck down, edifices, ideas that we've outgrown. And we should always remember the free spirit of the full, okay? And maybe things aren't as black and white as we'd like to think. So just some food for thought, y'all. And this is just my way of looking at it. There are other perspectives, and always think for yourself. So anyways, thank you for joining me, and see y'all next time. New videos will now be coming out every Saturday morning. I really apologize about that wait. Anyways, thank you. Have a great day. This is Taliesin McKnight. See y'all next time.